Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. It's a pretty cold day outside here today. Early January, it's going to be maximum temperature of 1 degree, and overnight we're going to get -2, -3 degrees. So I'm going to use this opportunity to finish my test off of the OEX Leviathan sleeping bag. I previously did a video of this, which I'll put the link to, but I wasn't able to test it under cold conditions. So this is the final part of the review of the Leviathan. And I'm also going to put up my Phoxx 1 tent, also by OEX. It sounds like I'm an OEX fanboy, but these just two bits of kits, they're the only bits of OEX gear I've got actually, but they just happen to be being tested at the same time. So yeah, I'm going to put the tent up in a minute and I'll bring you back a bit later on. My name's John and I make videos on camping, astronomy and walking. If you like what you see in this video, then please check my channel out, as there may be others that interest you there. But in the meantime, let's crack on with today's video. So the Leviathan sleeping bag theoretically goes down to -9 degrees. For me, that really means about -7, but I'm going to test it out tonight in -2, -3. I'm in the back garden because we're in yet another lockdown, but the advantage is that if I get cold, at least I can sneak inside. The OEX Phoxx 1 is a little one-man tent, so a very little one-man tent. Not normally, I wouldn't usually be using this in the winter because there's not sort of enough space, but I bought it the other day for the princely sum of £49. So it's kind of too good to miss really, so I look forward to putting that up in a minute and giving it a go. And this is the sleep mat that I'm going to be using, Exped Sin Mat Basic. It's about 2 inches thick and theoretically goes down to about -7, so it should be pretty good for today really. It's quite compact, not minuscule. I've got a smaller version, there's my hand to give you an idea. But that doesn't go down to a low enough temperature. And as far as a pillow goes, I haven't decided yet whether to use this Trekology pillow or cheat and use my normal pillow. I must say I find pillows the biggest challenge to getting a decent night's sleep while camping. So I might be tempted to use my normal pillow tonight since I don't have to backpack it anywhere. We've got some instructions. Two aluminium poles. They're quite thin, but then this isn't intended to be a 4-season tent. The thing is though, I'm a bit surprised for under £50 to be getting aluminium poles. I was expecting these sort of resiny composite black things that aren't very good. They tend to fracture rather than bend if they're put under heavy stress. These poles will bend rather than break if you happen to be out in extreme windy conditions, for example. So that's a fairly major plus for me, the fact these are aluminium. Bag of pegs, and they're the normal sort of hooky type pegs. Peg bag's actually quite heavy, so I think you could save quite a lot of weight by putting some better pegs in. The weight of the tent overall is on here somewhere, 1.6 kilos, so you could pull that weight down I think with better pegs. And then we've got the ground sheet inner here and the outer.
Don't want to sleep tonight at all. Just want to watch them stars fall. don't wanna try to make up dreams just to be seen. I wanna lay here beside you, oh quiet. Fire breath and open sky. It's not what we know, it's where we go. I grow wings and tell her goodbye. Oh, it's not what we see, it's what we choose to be. Sunflowers, high grass, and bare feet. Oh, but you each second is a treat. I keep my balance next to you. It's true. Nowadays there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Fire breath and open sky. It's not what we know, it's where we go. I grow wings and
I haven't seen this kind of tensioner before. There's vents at the foot end and the head end of the tent, which is really good for keeping condensation out, but might make it a bit cold in the winter.
I've never been so ready. Fire breath and open sky. It's not what we know, it's where we go. I grow wings and tell her goodbye.
The tent has a small second door that allows access to a small vestibule. You can't leave the tent through this end, but this is big enough to keep a pair of boots and your rucksack if you wish to do so. There's also a hook for hanging up a lantern above your head, and a pocket for keeping your bits and pieces in. The main porch of the tent again can hold a boot and rucksacks, but isn't big enough to cook in. Got a bit of frost on the outside of the tent now, so it's time for me to turn in. That's me settled in now. Nice and warm in my sleeping bag, I must say. It's currently about -2 outside, so it's going to go to -3 or -4 I think a bit later on. So I'm currently having a bit of quality time with my good friend Glenn Morangi. Nice bit of winter warming there. As far as the tent went, it was really easy to put up. Took me about 10 minutes, but this is the first time I've put it up. So I reckon you could probably do it in 5 minutes or so. It's in a pitch first, as you might have seen, whereas I've been a bit spoiled with tents that pitch inner and outer at the same time. So ordinarily inner first wouldn't be something I'd really like for the UK, but this was so quick to pitch that it's probably not going to be a problem. Inside the tent is obviously way more cramped than my favoured Van Gogh Torridon 2-man tent. This is more like a big bivvy or a small one-person tent. It's a lot more luxurious than my bivvy. I've got a lot more headroom compared to, say, my hooped bivvy. And the length is a bit longer as well. There's space above my head to stick a small bag. I'm 5'9" basically, and there's plenty of room for me. You can probably get away with being a bit over 6 foot. Yeah, so I'm quite pleased with the tent. It'd be interesting to see how it goes tonight, really. I did cheat and made no attempt at cooking. I'd have had to have cooked outside. So I had a rather nice sausage casserole cooked by Mrs. Camping Astronomer, which is cheating. So really I'm only in the tent chilling out and sleeping. Because of the limited cooking capability inside the tent, really this is a 3-season tent, I think, or intended for use in 3 seasons, and ideally kind of late spring to early autumn, where it's nice to sit outside the tent and do your cooking and all that sort of thing. Be interesting to see how it copes with the cold. It's extremely well ventilated, which bodes well for condensation, but might let a bit more cold air in than I'd like, but we'll find out tomorrow on that. So now I'm gonna chill out a bit, watch some videos on my phone, renew my acquaintanceship with my Glenmorangie here, and I will see you in the morning, unless I chicken out in the middle of the night. Oh, I can't do that because Mrs. Camping Astronomer told me she's locked the conservatory door, so I can't sneak back in again. So I'm kind of forced into spending the night. Hopefully the OEX Leviathan sleeping bag will be up to it. My feet are pretty warm at the moment. The bag's warming up nicely. What I'm wearing, incidentally, is a merino wool base layer, top and bottoms, a t-shirt. I've got, at the moment, got a pair of heat holder socks on, but I can see them coming off, and a woolly hat. So I'm hoping that that's it. I've got a down jacket on standby in case I need it. So anyway, I'll bid you good night and catch up with you in the morning. Cheerio. Frozen tent this morning, but overall a really comfortable night. Quite solid ice this morning. That's Pop's looking at the tent, wondering what it is. Go on, Pop it. What I didn't show last night was a sort of space between the inner and the outer. So there's a fair amount of space there, so the chances of the inner and the outer touching are minimised. In terms of condensation, the huge amount of mesh at the head end of this tent meant that I had absolutely nothing on the inside of the tent. So my sleeping bag was bone dry, which is good because it's a down bag. You can see here, incidentally, I cheated and did use my pillow. Although it was freezing cold, most of it, so I was actually just in the hood of my sleeping bag. But yeah, anyway, the outside of the fly was all frozen up this morning. There was a bit of condensation on the inner part of the fly that had frozen up. But overall, the ventilation, I was a bit worried because I could feel cold air coming into the tent last night, and I thought, oh, it's going to be a bit cold. But in actual fact, it was no problem whatsoever. And in theory, I could always close this back flap there to eliminate that as a problem. So that was that. That was actually quite a good night, much to my surprise. It's by far the coldest I've ever slept in. I think I've been down to 1 degree or so before. So this was about -3 last night, I think. And I was nice and toasty. I couldn't believe it. Looking at the sleeping bag first then, the thing that I hadn't done with it is tested it at low temperature. It had been down to sort of 4 degrees or so, where in reality it was actually too warm. But yesterday it was absolutely perfect. I wasn't cold at all. I had to take my heat holder socks off because my feet were getting too warm, and everything else was perfectly toasty. The other thing that I noticed was I had no feather loss, which is one of the things that you hear about the OEX Leviathan sleeping bag, that it has a tendency when it's new to lose feathers. I lost 1 or 2 the first night that I used it, and nothing at all at the moment, or today. So I'm pretty pleased with that. As far as the tent goes, it was obviously nowhere near as spacious as my 2-person Van Gogh Torridon tent, and that makes it a little bit of a challenge in the winter. Getting changed in and out of your jacket or your fleece or whatever is quite a game, and getting your trousers off is definitely a bit of a game. So you have to treat that aspect of things a bit more like if you've got a bivvy bag, in that you'll get changed outside it and then go in. It's vastly more luxurious than my hooped bivvy, which is good. I was very comfortable in the tent, to be fair. Once you're in, provided you don't have to get out too much, like going for a wee or whatever. For me, the tent probably isn't a winter tent, simply because all you can really do in it is sleep and chill out doing your video editing or watching videos or reading or whatever. You have to do all your cooking outside the tent, which for me doesn't make it too practical for winter use. But it's a cracking tent for better weather where you can sit outside. I mean, for the money, £49 at the moment, it's unbelievable, to be honest. I think you'd be really hard pressed to find a tent any better than this for that sort of money, and it makes it ideal for newcomers to camping and wild camping. Would be really good as a bike packing tent as well. If you took the poles out, I reckon you can pack the fabric down really, really small. I shall be looking at getting some lighter pegs, because I'm pretty sure you could cut 200 grams out of the peg weight. They're quite significantly heavy, so that's one aspect that could immediately be used to reduce the weight. To keep costs down, you know, 1 or 2 features have been missed off. One that I noticed yesterday was no bug net, but at the end of the day I can't say I've used mine very often in my other tents, so I don't really see that as an issue. The zip maybe isn't the highest quality, but again, you know, it works, so I've got no real gripes with that. So I think really I can wholeheartedly recommend this tent, and I shall certainly be using it when I want to go a little bit more lightweight in the spring, summer and autumn. So I think using this tent and a lighter weight summer sleeping bag, even me who likes to take a few luxuries along, might actually end up with a 8 kilogram base weight, which is a kind of little target of mine that I'm not getting anywhere near at the moment. So that would be good if I could achieve that. But yeah, in summary then, both of the tent and the sleeping bag appear to me to be unbelievably good value for money. The Leviathan sleeping bag was about £100 and the tent was £49. To get a sleeping bag for £100 that theoretically goes down to -9 is incredible. It's less than half the price of the competitors. I reckon for me, I tested it yesterday, -3, might have dipped down to -4. I'll check on the internet later on. There's a weather station down the road here. And I was very comfortable at those temperatures. So I think for me, it probably does go down to the -7 that I expected. I usually take the comfort rating and take a couple of degrees off of that to get what I think will be comfortable for me. So -9 equals -7 for me. But the reality for me is I'm not going to be out in temperatures lower than -7 down here in the southeast of England. So yeah, all in all, wholeheartedly recommend the products. I said I wasn't an OEX fanboy, but I have kind of been really impressed value for money wise, what you get with these products. I've enjoyed testing them. It was great to have a night out last night, even if it was just in the garden, but needs must at the moment. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care and cheerio.